guys, everybody's joined this panel is doing it for an amazing, amazing charity. It's called Feeding America. Feeding America is the nation's largest domestic hunger relief organization. They have a network of food banks, pantries, and meal programs in virtually every community in the United States. The money we raise today helps support 40 million people, so it's great. And half of these 40 million are children and seniors. So please check out feedingamerica.org. Yeah, great cause. And again, I want to introduce the players here. First, and certainly not least, he's the Caesar of systems. He's the KubeCon co-chair. He leads the Cloud Native Tools and Advocacy team at VMware. And most importantly to me, he's family. This is Stephen Augustus. All righty. Next up, she is the pendulum shifter, one of the greatest living resources on observability and debugging on the planet. This is co-founder and engineer at honeycomb.io. This is Charity Major.
Hi.
All righty. Next up, he's the consigliere of Kubernetes. He designed Kubernetes along with our next guest after him, the Godfather as well. He helped bring the world to Kubernetes. He designed the logo. This is principal engineer at Google. This is Tim Hocking. All right, next up. Right. Next up is Godfather. I am honored and grateful that you have joined this Cards Against Containers cause. You are obviously one of the initial, forebearers of Kubernetes. You do cloud native stuff at VMware, and you're principal engineer at VMware. This is Joe Beta.
Hello, hello. I want to rewind, and you said the greatest living resource with observability when introducing Charity, and I want to unpack living.
You can do that on TGA Cut K. This is my show, buddy.
All right.
Are you calling me a zombie?
Okay, the greatest resource. Okay, come on. All right. So, and now up, I'm going to introduce our dealer for today. He's the game creator. He leads Sysdig's technical sales team in Europe and beyond. He's my work spouse, and he's a dealer for the next hour. Here's Chris to outline the rules and how to play the game and how to vote.
Thanks, Pop. Always a pleasure. And yes, I really have put up with Pop as my work wife for nearly 3 years. So hopefully what all the viewers on YouTube will see, you'll see my screen. I have the question up the top. This is the question that is posed to all of our players today. They have a selection of cards that you don't see. Each of our players have got 10 cards, very much like Cards Against Humanity, if you've ever played this. They have a selection of 10 cards they can see in their interfaces. They get to choose the funniest, the most relevant, whatever they choose is the best match between the card that they've got, that's the selection of cards they've got against the question. You, as the viewing audience, will use the links that are, again, available on the stream. I don't know where to point, somewhere on the live stream. You will use those links to vote for your favorite answer. We'll give you a minute or two to choose your favorite answer. Once we've done that, we will lock in the votes. I will choose the viewer's favorite response, and we'll move on to the next round. At the end of it, whoever gets the most points gets random internet points. And our gratitude.
Bragging rights as the greatest living player of this game. See? We're full circle, everyone, full circle.
It'll be a face-off with all the zombie players next year.
Exactly. And so just for everyone's sake who's joining, even before we got started, there's been a lot of competitive juices here. Everybody's flowing. Everyone is really wanting to play. People are putting their names up here. So let's get ready for round one.
So round one, we've had this on the screen for a couple of minutes for our players already. So we've got a few answers already here. The question is, my favorite book is A Dummy's Guide to What? So far we've got 3 answers, waiting for the 4th answer to come in. For those viewers, have a look through, see what is your favorite answer.
In memory of Alex Trebek, we should have the Jeopardy theme playing.
We had some copyright issues last time we did this, so we used all the canned stuff. So.
Can we play the video in reverse or something?
It's our top answer here. We have, looks like answer 3 is getting some traction here, Chris.
A Dummy's Guide to Terribly Written Code with Questionable Internal Logic. And honestly, it sounds like me writing this web page.
I did notice the PHP, extension on the top there. So I'm guessing this is some high quality microservice based hosted on Kubernetes content that we're talking about here.
100%.
It is
Scalable
open source.
database on the back end with
is open source,
active
everyone.
failover.
My ISAM
We're looking
tabled
for some
everywhere.
contribution. We're looking for some contribution, everyone.
It's actually a capture the flag game, right?
So the downside of working for a security company, the first time I started posting the links to this on Twitter, of course, all the security folks started pen testing it.
I hate those people.
Looks like we have some folks joining us. We have, looks like we have Dave McKay joined us. Celeste Horgan is here. I know her. That's cool. We have a bunch of people poking. Thanks so much for joining us again. An amazing cause, Feeding America, with these amazing players we have today.
So we're getting pretty much quorum on the votes now, and the audience's favorite is Terribly Written Code with Questionable Logic. Let's see.
Man, I really thought natural selection had it.
And that was Tim. What a nice one.
Tim, you earned that point. I'll give you that one.
Solid.
Hawkins coming out fast
Well,
and strong.
Coming out of the gate.
I'm very familiar with terribly written code with questionable internal logic.
So we're ready for round two, everyone. Round two.
Next question is, what is going to solve all of our problems? And arguably, I would say terribly written code with questionable internal logic, but there we go.
It's kind of the killer card.
Played it too early, Tim.
I'm okay. I gotta.
Audience out there, if there's any questions you have for our esteemed panel here, it would be awesome. Again, so what, basically this is a dogfight here. Everyone's really, look, it's now Steven looks like he's split between two screens here. This is a dogfight. Yeah, look.
I've got
He wants to take Hawken out. He's taking out his camera and everything. It's amazing. Welcome back, Hawken. Welcome back.
I love me some Zoom web.
So it's fairly even. We've got one answer just about on top, but so far it's pretty even. Looks like some pretty popular answers from everyone all round. Give it another couple of seconds. It looks like it has pretty much evened out though. So, yep. The top article on Hacker News is going to solve all of our problems quite clearly.
Yes.
Charity, nice one.
Charity on the board.
I speak from rich experience here. MongoDB driven development, man.
Nice.
Next question on the table. The security team is hiding from me because I keep using what?
Uh-oh. All the security people are up in arms. Ian Coldwater, Brad Giesman, all of them, they're going to revolt. All of them are revolting against us right now.
Well, LD preload is popular.
Kids these days probably don't even know what that is.
I get the sense that when you were writing these cards, you were drawing from some experiences.
Yeah, a bit too many. Even better if we could LD preload the blockchain.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Equals the blockchain.
In a service mesh.
Got to be able to find those blocks, man.
Wow, and looking at our poll right now, number 3, again, just getting some love, big love.
Any more votes coming in? Oh, a couple more.
Like Thomas just said, I admit I had to Google LD preload.
That's the are you under or over 30 test?
I mean, I've Googled LD preload and I'm still not clear what it is.
Disclaimer: the answers and talk of this are purely the players here. So no ageist problems here. So
LD preload is like admission controllers, but for Linux.
Deep cut.
Hasn't
there's a
hasn't
sound clip.
hasn't everybody written an Elf linker at some point?
Oh God. This is one of those parties.
Actually, as a runaway leader there, we've got Ian Coldwater got left behind, and we did move into LD preload to inject random libraries in production. Took the votes at the end there.
And now we know that commentary can sway the proletariat.
Whoa! Look at that.
Nice job, Stephen.
Augustus getting on the board. Getting on the board. Excellent.
So our next question. This isn't a witch hunt. We just want to know who was stupid enough to implement what.
The YAML manifest, I have a talk on that. And so, Tim, I want to ask you this because I was doing research here. You know, pre-Kubernetes, you wrote that Python-based sort of declarative driver for Docker. You remember that thing?
Yes, it shows my Python skills with a Z.
But that already had YAML embedded in it even before Kubernetes. And I'm wondering, do you remember why and how you ended up using YAML in that particular thing? Because that manifest essentially mutated into the Kubernetes pod manifest over time.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a group, we just decided that YAML was better than JSON, and it was easy to access from Python, so we went from there.
Yeah, I think like that's. I seem to remember it was like good enough for now. Ship it. Let's keep moving.
Revelations you're getting in Cards Against Containers today. You wouldn't get in any other show apparently. So this is good. Let's keep up this the revelation.
So there is an overwhelming hatred for open offices, apparently, without question.
So speaking of spaces, this is a really good segue. How'd you get into this space in the first place? Maybe just do a round table here. And by the way, check all of their podcasts. That's Popcast Pop. Shameless plug.
Popcast.
Pop that like and subscribe. Okay, last one.
Dan, were you asking that question for open answers, or do you want somebody you want to pick somebody to answer?
I'm just round table. Anybody who wants to answer first? Tim, if you want to go first, go ahead.
Sure. So I started at Google many years ago working on BIOS and assembly, and I've just worked my way up the stack since then. And I ended up in the Borg world right around the time that Google Cloud started to be a thing. And Joe and Brendan and Craig and Brian and I all crossed paths and saw this opportunity.
Amazing. Joe, you want to say your side of that story?
Yeah, I mean, so I got into cloud. You know, I'll just talk cloud in general. It was literally a project called Plan B that turned into GCP. You know, it was a set of folks in Seattle that were starting the infrastructure projects that turned into GCE and cloud storage. But it was called Plan B because our original Plan A was to actually build a operating system for netbooks at the time, which eventually turned into Chrome OS. But the Chrome team, you know, was based down in Mountain View and, you know, politics and all that. So we're like, all right, Plan B, let's do this cloud thing. And so, you know, there you go.
And here we are. That's awesome. How about you, Stephen?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I was at a startup and they were starting to discover containerization. So some folks were checking out Docker Swarm, some were checking out Rancher, and I was kind of staring in the middle, looking at what was there, and it was the Core OS stuff at the time. So started to go deeper on like service discovery and network overlay things and containerization in general, and started staring at Kubernetes. I think one of the funny memories is we started a tech breakfast series at my company, and since the SRE team started it, I had to give the first talk on Kubernetes. And the night before was the first New York Kubernetes meetup where Tim was talking, and we're kind of like walking out afterwards, and he's just dropping knowledge bombs on the group, and I'm like, I have to leave early because I have to go give a talk on Kubernetes tomorrow, but I want to hang out with you.
I remember that night. It was a fun night.
Yeah.
How about you, Charity?
I take some. I'm not sure that I am in this space.
But
You
you're
don't
in
want
the
to be
cloud-
part of
cloud
any
native
club
space.
that would have you, right?
I don't know about that. No, I don't actually run Kubernetes at all. I run EC2 instances, old school. So no, when I was spinning up the infrastructure for Honeycomb about 5 years ago, they were kind of wobbly on the verge. I was just like, containers, I'm from ops. I always go for the thing that was just like proven solid. And at that time, containers were not it. We keep looking at them sideways and going, is now the time? And so far now has not been the time.
Nice. Yeah, I hear you. That's good. Hey, Chris, you want to go into our round here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a clear runaway winner really is the mutual hatred of open officers. Nice one,
Good
Joe.
shot.
I
Shout
got some
out to
points on the
Celeste over
board.
there. Nice job.
That was just a lucky card pull.
Oh, he gets that too? I thought that was just me.
So next question, we've migrated all of our applications to what to solve our problems?
And while we're doing that, I got a question for I'm going to start with Augustus and talk about just KubeCon. This year to kind of give a plug for you as a co-chair, and then I want to ask the rest of the group like their kind of experience, their funnest experience at KubeCon.
What did you want me to say?
Oh, okay. Just talk about KubeCon in general, like what's your co-chair, and just plug baby, plug.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, KubeCon. Have you heard of it? It's happening next week. It's going to be dope. I think that this is our first official KubeCon that is happening virtually. That was actually planned virtually. One of my favorite things about conferences in general is not so much the talks, although the talks are great. I think the hallway track is my favorite part, and an opportunity to try to recreate that in a virtual space has been pretty interesting. So overall, it's going to be a great conference, lots of great talks. As always, y'all make it incredibly difficult to choose to build the program because all the talks are usually phenomenal. So I hope you enjoy what we've put together. I hope you hang out on the CNCF Twitch stream for all the events that are happening, the various happy hours, hang out in Slack as talks are going on, so you can continue the conversations. Reach out to us. We'll be hanging out on Twitter and kind of just omnipresent online, hopefully. So yeah, have fun.
I'm totally going to piggyback on the back of that, I'm afraid, Stephen. But of course, Sysdig are going to be at KubeCon. We're going to be in the Gold A exhibit hall. We're going to be running some daily demos as well. So come by, have a chat with the Sysdig team. For everyone that comes visits us, we're going to be donating to the Cancer Research Institute and Code 2040. Sorry.
Say more about how you're hoping to recreate that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it, Cherry.
How are you hoping to recreate the hallway track? Because this has been so missing. Like I'm so fucking sick of virtual events because I feel like they don't capture that. So I'm curious what KubeCon is planning to do to make that better.
No, you put me on the spot. No. So I think a big part of it is going to be the Twitch presence. There's also some breakout activities planned throughout the week. I think, just getting used to online presence in general has been tricky, but some of the I think I love the fact that the CNCF has just gone crazy with the Twitch presence and streaming like Among Us games and things like that, like stuff that you would expect to happen if you were hanging out with friends, right?
Yeah.
And I was on the Twitch with Priyanka, and I love the fact that she's doing a happy hour every single day. It's awesome. Even at a conference, would you ever get to hang? You get to hang out sporadically with people, but it's cool. It's like how everybody be in the same room. I think it's really awesome the way the CNCF is doing that stuff. So,
Yeah, and if anything, we're looking for feedback. We're going into planning for EU next year, and of course, bigger, better as always. So if you have feedback to us, you can send it to me. You can send it to CNCF. Yeah, hit me up on Twitter. DMs are open.
Okay, and just before we get this round going, I just want to make sure everybody's you know how to vote here. Pick your favorite card. We want to make sure this is interactive as hell. So you can vote here, and we just put it in the channel. So Chris, you want to go with our next winner here?
Absolutely. And again, it was a little bit close, but again, a clear winner is Kubernetes. Fairly some.
That was a give. That was just a gimme.
Nice work, Charity.
The greatest living Cards Against Containers player is Charity right now. That's good.
Right now. Oh dear.
So our next question: the banking industry was forever changed when we first introduced them to what?
And everyone, please vote. Vote for. We'd like to make this interactive, so make sure you're voting. I have a question for the group. I'm going to start with Charity on this one, though. The question is what piece of practical advice would you give to somebody starting out? Again, these people coming to KubeCon, there's a 101, there's other amazing conferences out there, but just in terms of just one piece of practical advice, because we all love your blogs, we're all big fans of you, you know that. So,
people starting out. Gosh, I feel like in a lot of ways I am trying to figure this out. My little sister graduated from engineering school a couple years ago, and watching her try to find that first job has really made me sensitized me to just how difficult that is. Like, it's like once you've gotten that first job, like you're good, you're set for your career. But getting that first one is murder. And I mean, all of the easy answers are, well, go to one of the Ivy League schools because then everyone's going to try and poach you, or be prominent in open source, and they just aren't really accessible for most people. I feel like, the coding academies are starting to get some real traction. And I honestly feel like it's not so much about them teaching you or helping you learn the work. It's about them opening up networks of community, like people introducing you to companies and like kind of vouching for you. But like, honestly, for all of those out there who are hiring, we need to lower the fucking bar. Like, I mean that literally, like open the barn door a little bit wider. Hiring people is always going to be a risk, and we should be taking risks on people, not trying to like look for lack of weaknesses, not trying to like make the same mistakes everyone else is making. But like the companies who have money and like budgets to hire people, open the door a little bit wider.
Awesome advice. We appreciate that. How about you, Joe? Godfather Joe, any practical advice for folks starting out there?
Pre-COVID, I was going to go back to my college, my alma mater, and give a talk on sort of like, how did I get to where I'm at? And like, and the first part of that talk that I was sketching out was going to be like, I am like an N of one. And so I think part of, what makes questions like this so hard is that like, the stuff that worked for me clearly isn't going to work for everybody. And I think, that's some of what Charity is getting at there also. I would, so my advice to folks in general are like, prioritize what's important to you, and be very thoughtful about it. And for me, I think, I prioritize the people that I work with above all else. and then it's like who I work for in terms of like pick your boss, followed by what I'm working on. And so, and what you'll notice is that like things like compensation for me don't actually crack that list, because I feel like that ends up being secondary to sort of some of the sort of day-to-day, do I like my job type of things. And so, yeah, that's not going to get you that first job, but I do think that it'll also, help to make sure that you are centered as you sort of chart your career course.
Awesome answer, Godfather, and awesome answer,
So-
Charity. But you have a thought? I'm sorry, Gus. Steve, go ahead.
I have so many thoughts.
Of course you do.
So both Joe and Charity mentioned school. I dropped out of college. I dropped out of
Word,
college.
me too.
Did not have a path,
Same.
essentially, and spent a lot of time like reading through the CCNA certification book and MCSE books just to get an idea of systems. I think what keeps coming up is protocols, understanding the stack overall. Sometimes you don't know where you want to go, or people get locked into learning specific technologies. Spend some time understanding how all of the layers get composed, because the protocols don't change so often, but the way that we put them together does. Like everything that we've done has been sort of done before. It's just different names, different skins. So I think if you understand the underlying layers of how technology is built, you have a good path forward to kind of like be able to pivot from technology to technology, job to job. And then second, really find something that you're passionate about, right? Think about your hobbies and think about how they kind of interplay with technology, right? Because every startup that you can think of, every company that you can think of right now is a technology business, right? It's all built on it's like the differentiator in getting things done is built on how efficient your technology is, right? So think about some of your hobbies. Think about what excites you. I find that I don't do well with projects that I don't care about. So like if you're learning to code, think about something that relates to you and try to code that up, right? Like, so.
Beautiful answer, man. Mr. Consular Hawken, please, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and then we can get back to this game. We're getting deep today. We're getting deep, and I love it. I love it.
So many great comments, but I found myself nodding very hard at what Stephen was just saying. I really believe that learning stuff is important. Learning stuff that you really want to learn is always going to be easier and more successful than learning things that you have to learn. And I found this in my own life. When I had to learn calculus and I didn't see why it mattered, it was really difficult. And when something clicked about it and I understood what it meant in the real world, suddenly it was fun and I wanted to understand it better. And so I not everybody has the privilege to work on things that they care deeply about all the time, but finding something and using that as a catalyst for learning new stuff is super important. Like Joe, my path is probably not good for a whole lot of people out there, but I really started in open source and I found things that I really was just interested in learning more about in open source. And I'm a big believer in just doing to learn.
I think we lost Tim.
Oh.
But we see two Augustus.
I'm back.
Oh. If you want to finish that thought, it was amazing, Tim.
Sorry, I was saying, I started in open source and I started hacking on Linux because it was just something I wanted to learn on. So as sort of trite as go do some open source sounds, like learning by doing is, at least in my experience, the most powerful way of learning.
Amazing. Again, panel, it's just like this is helping so many people by just doing this. So this is great. But listen, we took you off of the game for a little bit. It's just see if we can take you off your game, but you all are back in the game here. So let's go back to Chris on our results here.
An absolute clear winner on this one. The banking industry was forever changed when we first introduced them to, of course, privileged truth. And as someone who worked in the banking industry for a little bit of time, yes, that's depressingly true as well.
All right, so we're getting hot and heavy. We got it 6 rounds deep. We got it. Let's go, people. Let's start. Like, there's a lot. Let's look. Who's in our lead right now? Let's look and see. AV folks, you just switch it over to our, just so we can get a recap of who's in the lead right now. So,
and while we're switching over, let's not forget that was Tim's answer for that one. That was a fantastic. I love that answer.
very good one. Very good. So it looks like we have Tim in the lead right now. Consigliere Tim. Okay, everybody, get your bullseye right on Tim. Let's go. Let's do another couple of rounds here.
Does he still have that like test point? Did we reset that?
We reset that.
Okay. All right.
No, we didn't. I don't think we
The
I'm
scoring
keeping
happens
track
outside
here.
of the game, so there's no fudging there. Our next question. I don't solve problems with X. I just kill the container.
Out there, let's go ahead and vote. Let's like once the answers are up there, we'd love to see you vote. You, Carlos, and you, Thomas, and you, Sam Caldwell. I'm calling all of you. Oh, Ricardo Katz. I see you.
I almost picked Craig McLucky as my answer to that one.
Get that poll out there. A lot of great answers. Again, players on our panel are bringing their A game today. A game.
So far, at the moment, we've got an absolute runaway winner. Let's see. Give it another minute or 30 seconds or so. See if get any more votes in to sway that. Otherwise, I'm not going to influence it by hinting what is in the winner. Yeah, I don't think there's any catching. I was about to say I'm not going to hint at it by saying who is the winner, which obviously would have given it away. And without question, the clear leader on that one is I don't solve problems with Joe Beda. I just kill the container.
So I win, but I don't win on that one.
That was charity when I won. Great answer. This is one of my favorite cards. What is your secret power?
Ooh.
Ooh. I know one of Augustus's not secret powers. That's ordering food on Fridays. That's not one of his superpowers. I'll tell you that.
It's my week.
Shout out to Sig Friday.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
I love these answers. And number 2 is absolutely why I very rarely write code anymore.
I'm remembering the Joe posted tweeted about code comments. There was something along the lines of like, "Oh, I love this idea," and then it's like sign Satan.
I actually checked that into the Internet Explorer source code when I was at Microsoft.
Nice.
There was a whole thing where it's like, at some point, like, Microsoft started releasing source code in a wider and wider way. And like, there was a whole effort to clean up all of the comments and all of this sort of like, because like that was like that type of comment was not unusual in like the Windows source code. There was a lot of swearing and such, and so they had to do a whole cleanup pass through the Windows source code.
Nice.
When we were releasing, when we were releasing Let Me Contain That For You, we had to do some similar source code scrubbery, since that was our internal container stack that had been worked on for many, many years by many, many people. We had many similar comments.
My trick is if you want to stick a funny comment and do it as the branch name, so it gets stuck in the merge commits.
It's kind of like when you're reading the news article and the URL has like an alternate, the first like headline that's still like hidden in it, and then they like.
You should see my branch names on like Bazel or like version markers for Kubernetes.
right,
I feel like I've influenced this one, but either way, the audience have overwhelmingly voted for reading your own code and wondering what suicidal maniac wrote it, and that is of course Joe Beda.
Wonderful.
Nice work.
Godfather Joe. Coming back strong.
I've read Joe's code.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking about my bash code early on in Kubernetes as I was checking that one.
I mean, it's still there.
That's how you know it's good.
The world runs on Bash. Come
Who's
on.
responsible for the cluster directory again?
That was a lot of me. I did write, I started doing like bash libraries, and we have a bash stack trace. It's amazing. I'm still proud of the bash stack trace.
We got our next question. Before you mention this question, it's the elusive service mesh question. We have every single Cards Against Containers. Here we go.
We implemented a service mesh because of what?
You guys have seen Bash reduce, right? The distributed map reduce written in Bash.
No.
Oh, it
I
exists.
haven't seen that one.
It's for
Have
real.
you seen the object-oriented bash? That's my favorite.
Oh God.
Have you seen the Kubernetes 2.0 milestone that just has an issue that I think Jace opened up about rewriting Kubernetes in Bash. And I was like, oh, we're close. Like, great benefits. We don't have to write tests. We can
Super
just read all
portable.
we have.
Wilson just said Basher Netties.
I'm looking at the squirrels chewing the network cable, and like and Tim, do you remember this? There was this one post-mortem at Google about like a rat's nest in a generator. Do you remember this? Oh, we lost Tim again. So like my understanding is that they spun up the generator to test it because responsible folks do this. And they didn't notice the rat's nest in there. And so the problem wasn't the rat's nest. The problem is that then they had to take the generator offline so they could clean out what happened when they spun up the generator with the rat's nest
Oh
in
my
there.
God.
And that
Ew.
created risk of like, what if there's a power failure while you're cleaning up after cleaning?
Nasty.
I don't think that's like Google secrets that I'm spilling. Is it?
I don't think so.
I mean, I'm
Check,
gotta be
check your
careful.
email.
Can't share the secret sauce.
Sauce. Literally. Ew. Ew.
Just the image, so vivid.
So vivid.
This is a pretty close one. Yeah, I used to be a consultant, and just reminding me of the updating your CV. We used to joke about other consultants and contractors working places I worked, and absolutely sometimes you'd get technology implemented just because someone wanted it on their CV so they could move somewhere else. But that's not our favorite answer. Our favorite answer is absolutely squirrels chewing through network cables.
Yes.
I mean, why else would you?
Like, have
Why else would you
noticed
deploy
there's
a service
start
mesh?
talking about something like the number of votes go up for that thing?
That answer was from Charity, of course.
That's because
Getting
I'm from
killed
ops
out
and I know
here.
how these things happen.
Boom.
Our next question. My favorite session at KubeCon was an in-depth discussion on what?
See, I should have saved my my question on KubeCon for this one. Any other plugs for KubeCon, Augustus? Oh, wait, can I do one? We also have some talks here. Wait, did you already do that one, CK? You already talked about
I didn't do
talks?
I didn't do the Falco one. Go for it.
So we have a bunch of Falco folks have a bunch of talks. We have pretty much Leo's doing, both our Leos are doing it. We have one with MathWorks, and I'm also doing one with the venerable Stephen Tehran. So yeah, check it out. We're on the schedule.
I've also got, I think Joe was showing off his earlier, but we've got the physical Cards Against Containers deck, and we've got a holiday expansion. If you want to get your hands on a physical deck of cards, we've got a form somewhere. I think it's in the KubeCon swag bag. You'll see links to that. And yeah, fill that out. We'll ship them to you in probably a couple of weeks, knowing the USPS. I'm not American. I'm not allowed to comment on those sort of things.
But I can.
This one, absolutely a clear winner on this one. So my favorite session at KubeCon was an in-depth discussion on how to exit Vi.
Perfect.
Wait. Vi? Do you say Vi or VI?
VI. Obviously, it's VI.
I did notice that it's capitalized here. Like, at first I thought it was how to exit 6.
That's the Star Wars part of you coming out, Hockey, I'm sure.
I was briefly in the lead over Tim. He has regained.
Our next question is, what idea did you bring back from KubeCon? But I just on that comment on VI or Vi, I've absolutely made that mistake so many times in my career, where you learn something completely in isolation, not talking to anyone else about something. When I first learned about GIFs, I pronounced them as GIFs, and I got mocked for that. And now, 20 years later, the entire internet is mocking each other about that.
Well,
there's so many things I don't know if I'm pronouncing them correctly, because I only ever read them on a screen.
I have to say though, like, I mock you about how you say alpha, and what's the thing that comes after alpha? What is that?
Beta, quite clearly.
Oh, Joe. Hi, Joe. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Joby. Can you say aluminum?
Aluminium, you mean? You've missed some letters quite clearly. Sorry, what language were you speaking? And the irony of all that was I was born in Australia, so.
Nice.
All righty.
Keep those votes coming in. It's a little bit light on votes at the moment. We do have a favorite at the moment. And just saying that suddenly boosted up the votes.
Let's get out there and vote. Okay, that means you, Noah. I see you. Celeste.
Again, I think we've got a clear.
Ricardo, get in the game over here, Ricardo.
Once again, a very clear favourites, although a close second as well. But what idea did you bring back from KubeCon? Close second was Imposter Syndrome, which I think is worth a call out. But dumpster fires, absolutely one of our favourite topics there, and that was from Stephen.
Awesome. I think we got time for one more round, everyone. Let's look at who's in the lead right now, if we could, folks. With Stephen Augustus, he's good. Up on the board here. All right. So, folks, let's look at what our score is, and then we'll do one more round. We got Tim, Consigliere Hawken in the lead with 4, Joe at 3, Charity at 2, Stephen Augustus with 2. Look, we got one more round. If we do have one more, like where we have a tie at first, we're gonna have a bake-off between the Godfather and the Consigliere. If he wins or whomever comes up, we're gonna, let's see what happens. So here we go. Another round.
Our question is, copying code directly from Stack Overflow led to what?
And again, all these people that are out there, start voting.
There's some great answers on this one.
Love it. Love it.
The exposing, so on TGIK once, by far the worst was when, I won't name the project, but we were exploring a project. It was pretty raw. We were doing it live, and the author was there in the chat, and they encouraged us to actually just open the management interface up to the internet to sort of like, just so that we could make progress. And like somebody immediately like logged in and started running Bitcoin miners just. And I was running a small cluster with the fractional instances on EC2. And like those things work great for playing around. But if you start doing anything CPU heavy, so the whole thing just fell over and it was just totally busted. I felt so bad for the project author that we did that.
And I think the answer is I'm not sure if it's funny or just tragically true. is the favorite answer from this one. So copying code directly from Stack Overflow led to running as root because it doesn't work otherwise. And like I said, that's both funny and very true.
Very true.
Whoop, didn't click there. That was from Tim. Nice answer.
Tim is owning the day today.
Crushing it.
Owning the day. It looks like, hey, wait a second. We have time for one more round. We do have time for one more round. I thought we would not. So you want to do one more here. Maybe somebody can come back in the game.
Cool. So this is possibly the last question. I never truly understood DevSecOps until I encountered what?
Oh shit! I hit swap all my cards instead of submit answer.
I guess while we're talking security, if people are watching this live, later on today, we've got a Kubernetes Ask Me Anything we're hosting with Brad Giesemann, Chief Security Officer from Darkbit.
Honk, honk. Shout out to you, Brad Giesemann.
The looks of concentration.
And by the way, they asked me anything actually with Brad is next week. Chris, I'm sorry. Just looked it up. So he's during KubeCon week.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yep, next week. Yeah, it does say. Sorry, it does say Tuesday. For some reason, I read that earlier as today.
Stick to dealing cards, kid.
You guys have got the whole day ahead of you. It's the end of my day. It's nearly 7 p.m. here. It's nearly my bedtime.
The days end at like 4:30 these days, right? It gets so dark.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go to bed now. It's like I'm in bed by
4 p.m. Just like,
I feel like I'm back in my goth phase from high school. I never had a goth phase.
Picture that never happened.
I did. I had a goth phase.
Did?
Oh yeah, I had hair. It was amazing.
ooh.
Pics
I
or
would
I
pay
wore
for
all
it.
black. I listened to The Cure.
Picks.
I would pay.
I would literally pay.
Picks
I
are
would
good.
I will donate $500 of podcast money to feeding, our feeding
It must
America. If
happen.
it would be
All
on
right,
the
let me go
ticket.
find a yearbook real quick. I'll be back in a second.
Yes. Day is a triumph.
Oh boy, this is great. You see what we did there? Charity?
Well done.
High five. Up
High
top.
five.
This might set the bar pretty high. I don't think anybody else is going to rise to that challenge.
All right, I gotta find there's one picture in this yearbook here.
You can post it on Twitter for us, Godfather Joe. Trust me. That's the money. That's how you earn that.
Getting my screenshot button ready here.
I love that it was so close at hand too. It's like just in case I have to show off the gospel.
Exactly.
Let me find my yearbook. I think it's on page 621 and lower left corner.
I remember her. She looks just like Charity. Now I'm going through my yearbook.
So to keep the game flowing, I just let's.
No, who cares about the game? This is.
Oh, wait, here it is.
The long game here is to see everyone's yearbook.
I want to call out that like the yearbook has a page that says, "This is amazing." This page is blank because of the lack of follow through of the students.
Wow, passive aggressive much.
All right, this one right here. There I am.
That yearbook committee was like militant. That's amazing.
Okay, so let me. Oh, I gotta like. Oh, here I got my fancy ass camera is getting in the way here.
Are you doing interpretive dance? What's going on?
Ooh.
What?
That hair.
Yeah,
Oh,
I still have that pea coat.
awesome.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Oh, the bob.
Can we all just clap? Can we all just clap for Godfather Joe?
Well done. Yes, I did get a screenshot of that. Thank you.
Well, I don't think we can top this. This is how you end Cards Against Containers for an amazing cause for feeding America. Our winner today is Consul.
So we need to select the winner of that last round festival.
Oh, that's
so
right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey,
I'm getting too excited.
I know I can't, catch up, but sprint it through.
So again, clear winner of this one. I never truly understood DevSecOps until I encountered sudo whack whack, or however you want to say that.
Whack whack.
That's new. That's new
That's
for
a
me.
new one.
No, so at Microsoft, whack is what people call backslash.
Yep.
What?
Yeah. So like if it's like backslash like foo as a server path, people at Microsoft will say like whack foo to mean backslash.
Today I learned. Mind blown. Well, congratulations, Joe. You got a point. Another point.
So what were our final scores there?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Tim 5, me 4, Joe 3, Steven 2.
Amazing, everyone. Hey, so before we go, if you maybe give like a minute to give a plug of anything you all are doing, KubeCon, or any cool releases or stuff that's going on. Just again, let's be lightning round real quick.
Start with
charity.
Honeycomb is actually going to have a presence. This is our first year at KubeCon. We've got the whole like deployment of people who are going to be giving demos and showing off how to use Kubernetes with Honeycomb. So you should seek them out. In this hallway track that I hear will work wonderfully.
How about you, Godfather Joe? Any plugs?
Let's see. We just announced an open source project today called Pinniped, which is sort of an auth system for Kubernetes that like some folks have been working on for a while. It's a really great group working on that. So I encourage everybody to check that out. Pinniped.
Didn't they fire you from naming things, Joe, after Kubernetes?
I did not name this one. Pinniped. So this is like, Pinniped is like the name of a type of seal, I think. And so it's like a seal of approval. It's an auth thing.
God.
You get it? It's really bad.
Jesus Christ.
And with that, let's move on to Consul Tim Hawken. Anything to plug?
Yeah, I've been working on this little Kubernetes project. You might have heard of it. And that's where all my love's going this month.
All right. And last but certainly not least, co-chair of KubeCon. Anything you want to plug?
I'm going to be bugging Tim about that Kubernetes stuff. So patch releases are happening right now for the cycle, not KubeCon related. Code freeze, if you are working on Kubernetes, is happening right now, or will be happening by the end of the day. What else is going on? I've got a talk. I've got a talk at KubeCon. I probably plug that every now and again. So we're going to be talking about the kates.gcr.io flip that happened earlier this year. So that's myself and Linus Arber at Google. Pretty dope talk. Yeah.
Awesome. And again, looking forward to seeing you all come out to the Sysdig booth, and I'll see all of our friends who are here today have amazing things. Honeycomb, VMware, obviously Google, our friends, doing great things. And again, we're doing this for charity, and not for charity majors, but for charity as well, but for feeding America. And thank you all for joining. Thank you for being interactive. It's been really fun, and I hope you all had a great time.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining in.
Happy holidays.